What is up? What is up? Welcome. You know, this is technically fitting in both camps because this is actually my video that is for my daily videos to record everything. So I think I forgot to do it yesterday. Either way, just trying to record as much as possible. So, even with, going through the stuff I'm going through, just trying to, no matter what, at least try to record something. Um, but you know, actually, this I want to make this one an unhinged rant, so that way it can technically be not really public, but unlisted in the playlist. Either way, it's a little different. Technically, this one isn't privated. Either way, what I'm trying to say is this is one that actually has like a focus. It's not just me talking. So I what I'm talking about. So I'm gonna make an unhinged rant. So what's good? Welcome back to a unbelievably unhinged, amazingly spectacular, crazily wacky, very insightful, just blow your mind, change your life rant. Or not. Maybe it won't do other things. But it's a rant. Um, it's a rant. Unhinged rant. So, you know, a lot of things to talk about, but that I could talk about, but actually, the theme. Oh, oh, my headphones. That's the thing about for this video. My headphones. Theme for this video. I can't. By the way, I can't cut these. So they're unhinged, uncut. I think that's usually what I said is unhinged, uncut. Blah, blah, blah. Like they're supposed to be uncut, so can't really cut anything out. But hey, that's the point of these. Well, it's just kind of like another thing about these, I guess. But this one is going to be about basically the theme for the video is keep your mind on God, not on the world. Or you could actually say it like this: keep your mind on good, or not on bad. So it's both. Keep your mind on good, not on bad, and keep your mind on God, not on the world. And they both go in tandem, right? So I was thinking about this because often we're living our lives and there's so much bad everywhere, and there's bad everywhere, and even like I've noticed that I'll watch videos that are just and engage with content no matter where it is, like if you're doom scrolling or whatever else, or even just out and about. You just like basically what I'm trying to say is we just focus on the bad, no matter what happens. Whether we're in life just, living, whether we're out working, we're out doing things where, even when we're with people that we care about, we're having good times, we still, not all of us, of course, but it's common to just dwell on the horribleness. Like you're with your buddies, you chilling, doing your thing, having fun, but you worried about what about all these bad things that are happening and this that. It's like all this bad stuff. When you're online, you're worrying about bad stuff. You're watching bad things. You're watching things talking about all this new drama that's happening, or this new bad thing that's happening. And it's not even exclusive. It's not even exclusive to like people who are not of faith. People who are faith also have this problem too, where they will do that too. They'll focus on what is it, pointing out evil schemes and darkness and stuff without actually focusing and pointing out the good. So it works in the same way. Where they are focusing on, even Christians are focusing on, like, oh, look at all this bad that's happening. Look at all the evilness and darkness. Look at all this horribleness. We don't like this, but they're not like focusing on what the good is. They're just focusing on the bad, and that's why I realize about a lot of creators too. I'll see creators that I've watched that are just, not all of them are like this, but I start gravitating, towards, I've been gravitated towards like, well, now it used to be I was gravitating towards creators who were like just talking trash, just saying like all of this stuff is horrible. this stuff is not godly, it's worldly, we don't like this, it's bad. But now I'm sort of going more towards people who are just talking about the good. And that's kind of what I'm getting at. This is, we're so focused on the bad, this bad, that's bad, that's horrible, look at all this horribleness, that we forget to even make time to focus on the good. We're too focused on our bad situation because we're over here in our horrible situation. Like, oh, I have it so bad, and stuff is so horrible for me, and it's horrible, and I'm having all these problems. Me. I have all these problems and all that. When you're failing to realize the good, you failing to realize what you got good. You look at it. What is a half empty instead of half full? You're looking at like, oh, look at all this bad I have, and you fail to realize all that you've been blessed. You fail to realize all that you've got good. You're over here like, oh, but I don't have this, or oh, but I have to do this, and I don't like this, or this is tiring, I have to do this, or this is boring, or this that. These random, whatever it is. It doesn't matter what the point is. You this that horrible. I don't like this. And you fail to realize that there's also good. You fail to realize that the good also exists within that. You fail to, like, the good is there, but you just are kind of blinded to it. Really, it's interesting. In fact, I actually want to make a full-fledged like public video on this, because this is something that's very important. I think it's something where it's actually changing how I want to take my channel, because I could take it into a route where I'm just pointing out horrible things that happen, and that's actually what I wanted to start doing. When you're on a fire, and you're new in the faith, you want to just point out all the things that you used to enjoy that are now you now see it. You can see the bad in them, right? Because you're out of that, and you can see that. But it sucks when you fail to realize, because like you see all this bad, and all this stuff is bad happening. You interact with bad. You have bad around you. Like, for example, you're someone who has not maybe not horrible, but bad influences, or people around you are talking negatively. They're complaining, or this and that. There's all this negativity, and granted, that does exist. Let's be real. It does exist. There's negativity everywhere. But why do we need to always point it out and put up a spotlight over it all the time? It's like, okay, yeah, we'll put a spotlight over it, but it's not even just a spotlight. I wouldn't even consider it just a spotlight. It's just kind of like we look at it so much that it's just all we talk about. That it's just the talk of the day. The talk of the day is darkness. The talk of the day is the kingdom of darkness, when the talk of today should be the kingdom of God. And that's just how it is. And that's how it should be, is the kingdom of God being talked about more. But we're far too focused on talking about, oh, this person said this, and this person did this, and they're all worried about what other people are doing. Like, oh, this negative thing this person did, they're doing that. This company's doing this horrible thing. This cultural practice is horrible. Just like constantly talking about it. We get it. It's fine to talk about and understand why these things are bad, so you can avoid them, so you can actually be able to deal with it. Know how to deal with the issue at hand, right? But okay, and then also we go on yourself. It's like, all my faults are this, that, this horrible stuff's happening to me, and this, that. We always focus so much on that stuff. But at the end of the day, bro, like, at the end of the day, it's not gonna help you to just constantly focus on that. Instead, I think sometimes we just need to say, hey, all this bad does exist, right? Yes, it does. Are we gonna change that with our own power? No. Darkness is going to be darkness, and it's going to keep doing its darkness thing for the time being. Darkness is doing its thing. It's running wild. It's going to do its thing. You don't have to be a part of that darkness. You don't have to be a part of that darkness. You don't have to be. You don't have to be with the darkness. You don't have to be part of the darkness. Darkness doesn't have to be within you. You don't have to be within the darkness. You don't have to be part of that. And I think to a certain extent, we're all at generally becoming part of it. We're becoming more hateful. We're becoming less loving. We're becoming more jaded. We're becoming more like robots, even, because darkness kind of just does that to you. Darkness kind of just makes you. It destroys your humanity. You have the basics of your humanity. Being able to love, care for others, strive to do things, like actually do things, like actually get up and do them, even when you don't want to. Being able to sacrifice, like I said, the fruits of love. Being able to suffer long, to be kind, to be truthful, to be hopeful, to never fail. To be hopeful, truthful, and love unconditionally. And we're too focused on being hateful, lustful, envious of people, prideful of ourselves, rude to people, super selfish, obsessed with whatever you want to be obsessed with in the world, just obsessed with something. It's just like we're not able to just let go of that darkness. We're just clinging on to it. And why would we cling on to darkness? Why do we need to do that? We need to be clinging on to the light. That's what we need to be doing. It's clinging on to the light. And a simple way to start getting that direction is just focusing on the good. Instead of beating yourself down, you don't beat yourself down. You say, hey, I may not be, doing the best right now, but I'm gonna hold on to God and He'll raise me up. He'll give me that light. Even when I think I'm doing horrible, He'll help me to do better. Because within my own power, I know I'm not gonna be able to. And when you hate on others, and you're like, oh, look at how bad they are. Instead of focusing on all that, focus on the good that they do. Maybe they do good things. We're too focused on, oh, what did, well, look at our finger. Well, look what bad they did. I mean, I've been sick and I've had to pause this many times just to, glad I can pause it. You would see all that. I have to pause this all the time just to deal with my sickness and then be composed enough and ready to speak. Because otherwise, my sickness is stopping me from even speaking. Because I'm over here coughing and sneezing and all this stuff. Mucus all up in my throat, and I'm like, can't even speak. So, it's something that I've been dealing with. Just like when you're sick, I've been for at this point a while, been about a week or so. Um, you constantly, your body's just fighting through it, but you constantly, think about the bad. You're thinking, oh, your body, it's horrible, and all this. Maybe you won't even want to end up blaming the Lord for that. Maybe you'll say, hey, why don't you heal me already? Why don't you, do this, do that? But what you fail to realize with that is, bro, why do you need a magic genie? That's what we fail to realize. Why do you need a magic genie? If you got a magic genie every one of these times, and you can do whatever you want, you can, and then whenever you have future hardships in the future, you're not gonna be able to deal with them. As well as when you have that magic genie, that, oh, I snap my fingers, help me out, solve all my problems. If you get a magic genie like that, then you're just gonna not care about doing right because a magic genie will help you, and that's important to think about. So I heard this thing where it's like, you're healed in the spirit. As long as you're healed in the spirit, then it doesn't matter where your body is, because your body can just follow after and be healed as well. And you can pray for that, but you got to realize that when you're healed in the spirit, you're already healed in the spirit. So your spirit is from God. It's perfect. When you're living in the spirit as well, you're not living in you know your physical stance doesn't really matter. You know, and something I've kind of like to how I kind of like to differentiate it and put it into two, which is also biblical, but it's just how I'm visualizing it. Is that I'm seeing it like separate, like you have your spirit, you have your soul, and or I separate into problems really. I say you have spiritual problems, you have fleshly problems, and fleshly problems are solved with fleshly answers. And spiritual problems are solved with spiritual answers. And your spirit affects your flesh. And your flesh, if you let it, can affect your spirit. So if you just say, hey, I'm going to solve my fleshly problem with a fleshly answer, you don't try to solve it with a spiritual answer. So let's give an example. Your fleshly problem is, I need to eat food. That's your fleshly problem. Your flesh needs to eat. Okay. How are you going to solve that with a spiritual problem? If it was here's what the adverse of the spiritual problem would be. I need soul food. That's your spiritual problem. You need soul food. Okay. How are you going to solve your soul food problem with your flesh? How are you going to solve that? Just like how are you going to solve your needing food with your spirit? Like your body just needs food. Just eat it. You know, your body just needs food. Same with your spirit just needs food. Your spirit just needs food. You're not going to solve that through eating actual food. Maybe you should do it with spiritual food. If you need actual food, maybe you should do that with actual food. It's to say they're just different problems. So people kind of have problems and they try to solve it with one or the other. Like people are rude to them, right? People are rude to them, you know, they're rude to them, their spirit, right? Like here's another way of saying it. You have two answers for problems as well. You can answer it two ways. So someone asks you, or someone, for example, let's do the problem we just said. So the food, physical food. You need physical food. Okay. What's your spiritual answer for that? Your spiritual answer is to say, okay, actually, here's a fleshly answer. First off, your fleshly answer is, okay, I'm just going to eat food. Okay. Your spiritual answer is, I don't need that food. You don't need it. Your spirit doesn't need physical food. So, how you solve the problem? You eat food. And that's it. You eat food. Same with spiritual. Okay. Spiritual food, you need spiritual food. Are you going to solve that by saying, all right, I need spiritual food? Let me go eat a burger. That's not going to help your spirit because that's not what we're looking for. All right, it's spiritual food. You need spiritual food for your spirit. Okay, cool. Eat spiritual food. Delve into the Word of God. Okay, it's they're different. You don't solve that with your flesh. You don't say, okay, you go eat some food. Like it's a different problem. It's not a problem with your flesh. It has nothing to do with him over here. It's your spiritual problem. You have to solve it with a spiritual answer. Someone asks you, if something has to do with your integrity as a person, if you separate it from your flesh, you're not going to worry. So let's say this instead of that problem first. Let's say you're really tired. You're really tired physically, so that's a fleshly problem. Okay, you need some sleep, but you can't get it. Okay, you're going to get mad in your spirit if you let your fleshly problem affect your spirit. And you're trying to solve that fleshly problem with your spirit. I'm saying it, this is why I say solve in a way. Basically, I'm meaning affect, but you're trying to solve it basically with your spirit. You're basically trying to solve that problem with your spirit. You're trying to solve it with your spirit, it's going to hurt your spirit. You're going to let that problem that isn't even meant for your spirit to hurt it. But if your spirit is good, and you're like, all right, I'm tired, my body's tired, I ain't gonna worry about that. Cool. Like I'm just gonna sleep when I can sleep. Cool. My spirit cool. So when your spirit cool, you ain't worried about all that. Your spirit cool. So if someone is saying something against you, like oh blah blah blah, you're ugly or something, I don't know. Well, okay, well if it says something like you're ugly or something like that, or if you're worried about your looks or whatever, that's letting your flesh affect your body. That's letting your flesh affect your spirit because you're worried about your looks. Like think about that. You're worried about your looks. Isn't that a little weird? You're worried about your looks when you're not supposed to be walking in the flesh either way. So that's a fleshy problem, which is, oh, my flesh doesn't look good. Well, guess what? It shouldn't affect your spirit, your self-image, because you were not your self-image. Well, you're not. You don't get your value through your flesh either way. You get your value through God. So you are valued through God. Your identity is through God. You're not a plumber. You're not a dad. You're not a son. You're not a daughter. You're not You're not this. You're not. Your profession isn't your thing. That's not the thing that gives you your identity. It's God. So to say, you know, you have over here, right? Like you have your flesh here, right? So let's say your flesh is. You can't see me. I'm doing this. Yeah, over here, your flesh. Your flesh is dealing with its own problems every day. It's dealing with every day has to deal with problems like sleep, eating, um, pain. For me, sickness. That's a fleshly problem. But like I said, if you let that fleshly problem affect your spirit, then you're solving that fleshly issue that you have in front of you, not with a fleshly answer, but with a spiritual answer, and they don't mix. You can't answer a fleshly problem with a spiritual answer. Someone says, "Hey, you look ugly," like I said before. You can't say, "Oh, I feel that's going to affect my spirit, and now I feel horrible." Like, no, you're just talking about your flesh, bro. What you talking about, bro? If you're talking about your character as a person, there we go. Now that you're talking about your character as a person, how you act, what's in your heart, now we're getting into a spiritual issue. Like, okay, now we're talking about me. We're talking about me now. So now we can get into spiritual. Okay, you're talking about me as a person. All right, so we're talking about me. We're talking about me soul wise, me. Like, we're into spiritual issue right now. All right, cool, cool, cool. So you don't like me as a person. All right, well, we can solve that. We can solve that. How I'm acting as a person, how I'm going about things, how my mindset is on things, like all this stuff. That's spiritual. You can give that spiritual answers. They talk about how's your day today. Someone says, "How's your day today?" You don't answer that with a fleshly answer. They say, how did your body do today? It's like, oh, well, my body was hurting a lot today, and I had to walk a lot, and it's hurt my feet and stuff. So yeah, I'm gonna gauge this bad day because my body is hurting. So no, your body's doing this thing. Your body may be hurting. Okay, that's so his answer, your body's answer. I'm not saying his, like he's another person. Your body, your body's answer would be like, yeah, I'm hurting, but I got some food. Sure, that might be its answer, man. Sorry, that was uncontrollable. And that might be his answer. I mean, that might be your answer with your fleshly. That might be your fleshly answer. What's your spiritual answer though? Your spiritual answer is, okay, I'm doing good. Okay, why are you doing good? Because my spirit's doing good. Because I'm content. Because regardless of my situation, I'm content in my spirit. I'm content in the promises of God. That's it. And there's a difference there. Isn't that a major difference? You could have had the worst day that day. Maybe you could have had everything didn't go the right way. You were hurting. People were saying mean things to you. You got late to a lot of things. You woke up on the wrong time, wrong side of the bed, even. All that different stuff. But your spirit was good, so you got through the day just fine. And in fact, were feeling good that day. Actually, you see it like this: you could have a day where your flesh is perfectly fine. He got all he needed. He got his sleep. He got his meals. You know what I'm saying? He got all he wanted. But your flesh didn't get nothing. And since your flesh didn't get nothing, I'm sorry, no, not your flesh, your spirit. Sorry. Well, I'm about to drop the phone. Your spirit didn't get nothing. So when your spirit didn't get nothing, guess what's gonna happen, bro? You ain't gonna feel real good about that day. You're gonna be like, oh nah, I feel horrible. Your spirit ain't good, bro. Your spirit ain't good. Your spirit ain't good. But yeah, but then if you got another day where it's like, okay, your flesh ain't liking it, bro. He's like, oh, I'm hurting and aching and all this different stuff is happening. But your spirit good, and you accomplished what you need to do or something. Maybe you did stuff that you ain't done in a while, like recording this video or recording a video that you meant to do. Either way, you did things that you ain't doing in a while or things that you need to get done. Whatever it is, your spiritual journey was improving that day. Your spirit gonna be good, and the day gonna be good. You're gonna be feeling accomplished. You're gonna be good because that's just how it is. And when you focus so much on that fleshly problem and trying to solve it with your spiritual answer, every time something happens to your body, your spirit's going to be affected because you're answering all of your fleshy problems with your spiritual answers. All your fleshy problems when they're hurting and all that, you're saying, "Oh, well, it's affecting my spirit." Don't affect your spirit. It's not supposed to be affecting your spirit. If it's hurting, it should hurt your body. Your spirit is separate. If for example, people think you look bad, they don't like your looks. That's a whole nother issue, bro. That's all on your flesh. And if you ain't living in the flesh, then it don't matter, bro. Because you're not even living in the flesh anyways. So your flesh is gonna have its own problems and deal with them. It's not like you can't. It's not like you're not gonna deal with your. You're not gonna have those fleshy problems you have to deal with. But you're not gonna solve them with a spiritual answer. You're not gonna solve them by saying, "Oh, my spiritual answer to that fleshly problem is." Um, you're not gonna have an answer because the answer to the fleshly problems is a fleshly answer. You need food, eat it. Your body hurts, uh, medicate it. Um, so and if it's something based on your character as a person, then you can get the fleshly problems. Someone says something against your character, saying, "Oh, you feel bad. Something you feel bad about yourself based on your character." Then we got a problem with your spirit. That's something you need to deal with. But it had nothing to do with your flesh. Your flesh is very limited, and its problems are very limited too. Your spirit is where the bigger problems are. When you have a problem with your spirit, that's when it really messes you up. So you need to really keep on that spirit. Make sure your spirit is good, and you ain't even gonna worry about your body. Your body gonna be doing this thing. It's like, oh, I have my problems, I have my ups and downs. Your body every day has its ups and downs. It's fragile. It's sometimes hurting. Sometimes it's like it wants something. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes it's lustful. It wants some, sexual desire or whatever. Whatever it wants. It's doing its thing, though. Who cares? All right, it's over there in a corner. Let it be in its little corner, just like a little devil kid. He can be in his little corner as well. Just keep them both in the corner. All right, your flesh, your flesh, and the little devil kid. He can go. Both of them can go ahead and sit in the corner over there and do their thing. All right, you're here living in the spirit, not in the flesh. So if you're living in the flesh, you're gonna worry about all them problems. You're gonna solve it with your spirit. You're gonna merge them together. And every time something happens bad to your body, it's the worst. Or sometimes to your flesh, it's gonna be the worst day of your life, bro. Every time you don't get what you want. Every time you don't get what you want, you're like, oh, I didn't get to have a bunch of money. Oh, I had to work. Oh, I had to do things. Oh, I had to oh, this thing happened. It was horrible. It's like, okay, if you merge them together and you just living in the flesh, basically at that point, you just forgetting about the spirit. Okay, everything that happens, every circumstance of your life when you don't get what you want, every time, you think about your future, like, oh, but like, what if I never? You're gonna keep worrying about everything. It's just gonna not work out well because you're working in not only your own power, but you're working in your flesh, and whenever your flesh is fragile. So when you're working in your flesh, what's gonna happen when you lose your legs, bro? You'll think, oh no, I can't kick that soccer ball anymore. Football. I meant, but yeah, oh no, I can't walk anymore. And now my whole life is ruined. I'm not gonna be doing things that I want to do. I want to be like a professional player on like sports, or I want to actually walk in general. So yeah, now my whole life is ruined. And it's like, if you was living in the flesh, that's how it be. You would worry so much about that problem, so much about that problem. If you were living in the spirit, you wouldn't be worrying about that. Sure, you'd be sad. It wouldn't be a good experience, of course. You wouldn't let it ruin your whole life, bro. You'd be like, hey, obviously wasn't great, but I'm not gonna let that affect my spirit too much longer, man. I'm gonna go ahead and get up out of this, out of this chair. No, I'm talking about get up out of the rut you in your spirit, bro, and just say, hey, man, I ain't over here in the dumps no more, bro. Nah, 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 nah. I ain't letting that affect my spirit, bro. I ain't letting my physical circumstances, whether I got money or not, whether I got fame or not, whether I got friends who love me or not, whether I got this, that, whether I got all this or not, whether I got the significant other or not, whether I got all my problems solved, whether I got all that, I'm not gonna let any of that affect my spirit. And that's how you need to think about it, because those physical problems are going to be solved with the physical answers, or they not. Who really knows, to be honest? But they're not a spiritual problem. Whatever happens over there gonna happen over there, bro. Whatever happens in your life in that way happens to your physical, gonna happen to your physical. You ain't gonna hey, stuff is unpredictable. You're not gonna be able to solve everything, bro. And sometimes stuff happens that you can't. When you have a sickness, for example, you ain't gonna control that. Like, it is what it is, bro. But like I said, letting that affect your spirit ain't gonna do nothing for you, bro. But you gotta think about, hey, your spirit got its own problems. Deal with it, bro. Spirit got its own problems, stuff to do with, like you as a person, what where you're going, and what is it, how you think about your situation. It's more like a difference between when you're in your flesh, you're thinking, you think about that those fleshy problems are, more about, like your spirit is more about thinking about how is, when you, what is it? Think about how it's how you think about your problems, and your flesh is the actual problems. So the flesh actually is, I'm talking about the fleshy problems. Your fleshy problems are dealt with within your flesh. Like either they mess you up, maybe they don't mess you up. Either way, they're doing their thing over there. Your spirit is just, it ain't had nothing to do with that. It's just, okay, how do I think about that problem? If this problem happens in my life, am I gonna think negatively about it or positively about it? And now dictate where your spirit is, bro. So that's why you ain't go, hey, you gotta focus on the good things, man. So it's gonna matter, because whether you get up the next day and go at it again all depends on your spirit at the end of the day, bro. Your flesh, your flesh will just give up at one point. Your flesh with enough pain, enough suffering, your flesh will give up, bro. Your spirit won't give up. Your spirit has the ability to not give up. Your spirit has the ability to be in the worst situation you could think of and still get up and go again the next day. Because your spirit is different. It's built differently, is what I'm trying to say. So, hey, man, you got to focus on the good. And that's what I'm trying to say. You got to focus on God. You got to focus on the good. You can't keep your mind dwelling on the negative. You can't keep your mind dwelling on the bad. You can't keep your mind dwelling on the flesh. You can't keep your mind dwelling on the horribleness that's going on around you. You can't keep your mind on that. You got to keep your mind on the good. You got to keep your mind on the good. You keep your mind on the good stuff, on the Most High, on the Spirit. You need to keep your mind on the good stuff. Anything that is good is happening. It's like that one verse, bro. Anything, I don't know the exact verse, but if you know, you know it. And actually, it's multiple verses in the Bible actually that talk about focusing on the good. Actually, I had some ready, but maybe I'll say that for the actual video when I talk about this. But there's verses that point to just focusing on the good. There's also verses that say to point out evil, to shine light on the darkness. But this keyword shine light. It's not delving into the darkness. It's when you look at light and you shine light, you don't just say, look at this bad thing. You say, look at this bad thing, and here's the alternative. Because without that, you can't really expose the darkness. You're just kind of pointing it out. And we're not really pointing out as, with anything in to help it. You're actually solving them, helping to solve the problem or showing an alternative. You're just kind of just pointing it out. And it's like, okay, oh yeah, we know that exists. What about it? So man, don't, and again, and another thing actually, don't worry about man's. Don't worry about man's opinion, bro. What about God's opinion? And God don't care about the flesh. He don't care not one bit. Man cares about the flesh. Man cares about the physical outsides. Man cares. I'm not saying you. Hopefully you don't. But you want to be the one that doesn't care about that. There are many who do, who care about the physicals, who cares about how someone looks, the face, the facade, the persona that they put on. They care about the persona. They care about a lot of times themselves as well. They're all about me, me, me. But yeah, they care about the flesh. They care about the outside. They care about, what can you do for me? Or like people will treat you like this. I'm not saying everyone will, but there will be people who will treat you like that. What can you do for me? And, they'll hold grudges, they'll hate. It's all fleshly. But you can't worry about any of that. You can't, you know. If you make mistakes, that's on you. That's on you if you make mistakes too. Because you can end up doing that too. But the main thing is that you try not to. That you actually get yourself out of it, man. Get yourself out of the flesh, man. Get to the spirit. That's what I'm saying, man. Get to the spirit. Keep your mind on not what the man thinks, not what men be think about you, but what God thinks about you, because he thinks differently. He be thinking differently, bro. He don't care about your outward appearance. God don't care about your outward appearance. He don't care how much money you got. He don't care, all this accolades you got. how much you gave to the poor. He don't care about any of that, bro. That's all the outside, but he cares about the heart. All right. He cares about you as a person, not you as who you show yourself, but who you really are. And he knows who you really are. So he knows that when you pull down all the filters, he knows who remains there. And that's who he judges when he pulled out all the filters, all the this, all of that, all the fluff. He knows who that is. And that's who he judges, and that's who he cares about. And that's who he actually is thinking about. When he's talking to you, he ain't talking to you. He's talking to you. Talking to the real you. And if you ain't in the real you, if you're not thinking in the real you sense, like your mindset ain't in the real you, you still have all your facades up, you ain't gonna take it, you ain't even gonna notice his message because he ain't talking to the facade you. You're talking to the real you. Who really are you? Get to the deep of that, and you could understand who he really talking to. He ain't talking to the facade you want to put on. You know what I'm saying? Oh, but actually, I believe, but actually, I think this, all these little facades you want to put on, all these things you want to, lie to yourself about. And it's difficult, don't get me wrong, because we put a lot of facades on. We try to save ourselves from, all this pain by putting all these facades, all these personas on. You gotta take them all off, all the filters, even the ones you don't realize. There's ones you have to delve deep in because you don't realize they're there. The ones that are these lies you keep telling yourself, these little facades you keep even hiding from yourself. You have to really delve deep into those. I'm sure there's some that I'm sure there's many I ain't even got into yet. So I'm even working on that. So you gotta do it, man. You gotta just get past all that facade. You gotta realize that he ain't talking to your facade. He ain't judging your facade. He don't love your facade. He don't care about your facade. He is focused not on your facade, but he focused on you deep down, real you. The real you without the filters, the real you without the propped up, without the ego, without the this, that. He focused on the true you deep down and who you truly are. So that goes with even your true desires. He knows them true desires beneath you try to layer on with, but actually I think this. He knows what you truly mean and what you truly want to do and what you truly care about. You might even not even know. It's something I'm trying to delve into. Like, what really do I believe? What really do I focus on? Yeah, I mean, like, what really is my deep down, you know, like, care? Do I really care about this? Do I really care about that? What really is my motivator? All this different stuff. And sometimes it can be hard, but we really just got to delve into that. And we might not find it overnight, but it's a process. I hope that I can find it for sure in due time. But hey, what I'm saying? It is what it is, man. You gotta find that, man. You gotta find it, because otherwise you ain't gonna know who you're talking to, man. You be talking, you be like, what? That makes sense. That makes sense. Ain't talking to you, bro. You putting the walls up, putting them walls up. You like, hey, 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 can I talk to you? You like, okay, I'll talk to you. Blah, 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 blah. You just say a bunch of stuff. It was like, okay. When you respond, this is your response. You're like, oh, what did you say? I was looking at it with I wanted a certain answer actually. Could you give me the answer that fits with this facade I have on right now? Give me an answer that fits with that. It's like, no, I'm not gonna answer to your facade. Like, no, I'm not Magic Genie. I'm not just gonna give you the answer to your facade problem. Like, it's not even really the answer you want. It's not the answer you truly want, or the answer that you truly need. So, don't care. I'm not gonna answer to that one. Hey, it makes sense, don't it? Like, would you, if someone asked you, if someone asked you a question like that, and you knew that who they truly were, you respond to them like, yeah. So let me respond to your facade you're putting on, and give you an answer for that facade. Not the answer that will actually help you. No, if you, well, I mean, maybe you as a person, maybe that's just who you are, and you would do that. But if you um, had any semblance of love for the other person, you would just not do that. But yeah, either way, that's the end of this one. That's kind of the main message I wanted to say. It's just we focus too much, man. Focus too much on the evil, and it does exist. It's around us all the time. We can't. We're supposed to be the light. We're supposed to be the light, not just as people, but as followers of Christ. Especially, we need to be the light because we can't just be, there's darkness around. We can't just go into that. We're gonna have to walk through the darkness. We're gonna have to walk into the darkness and through. But we have to carve a path through that darkness. We have to be that shining light within the darkness. We can't just fall into the shadows and just dwell in them. We can't do that. We have to walk through them. And it's something that we should really be sitting with. We got to sit with that. Sit with it and think on it, man. That's what I gotta say. So, yeah, that's what I gotta say for this video. That's kind of the video of this unhinged rant. First one of these videos that I'm doing. Technically, it's just me recording unhinged rant, but with me doing my recording where I'm recording a bunch of videos, it's helping. It does help to know that these videos aren't really being recorded. It helps me really be honest when I'm not really recording these videos because they're gonna be watched. Because a lot of them that I've recorded are privated. So with a lot of them being private, it goes to show that literally with it being private, at least this one's unlisted, but the other ones are private. So they're not even able to be watched. And that goes to show that, hey, even if I gotta say something, man, like this one's at least because I just had to talk about it and get a little bit of a message out. But it's like how it says, if you get a message out and nobody watches the message, it is what it is, right? You can't force people to watch your message. But you at least can get it out there, can't you? And it's also to say, I could make these videos public. I very well could. But if I actually genuinely do want people to get my message, I'd rather kind of market it in a way so people are able to be interested in it. So that's why with these videos, they're kind of a good, I can always go back to these videos and be like, okay, that's a good topic to talk about, and I can actually make it to a video. So it is a video I want to talk on, but I just haven't got around to, fully, scripting it out and doing all the shabazz to get the video up and going, to get the actual full video going. I gotta get some, because I'm over here talking, but with the actual video, I kind of want to have sources as well. I want to have the scriptures ready and all my thoughts and everything together, have everything ready to go, so that it can be the best video it can be and be as accurate as possible to the message I'm trying to spread and say. So yeah, take a little bit of time for that one, but hey, these at least help, at least from time to time. Actually pretty often. I've been doing it pretty often. So hey, as much as I can every day if I can. Hey, that's a goal, man. That's a goal, man. It's a goal. So just recording, man. Yeah, I think it's a good thing. It gets you used to it, man. It's a good routine. Just record. Lets me really speak when needed. Anyways, yeah, that video, just the video things. See ya.